All right, starting this one a little early today. Well, what is up, guys? Welcome back to DCTV, where I am your host, Drew Collins, bringing you all sports-related news in the greater Cincinnati area. If you're new around here, make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button, leave a like, and comment below. So this is my live edition of DCTV. Thank you guys so much. I want to go ahead and first say we are so close to 1K. We are about 10 subscribers away, about 15 subscribers from 1,000 subs in about 3.5 months already. So thank you guys for joining the stream. Hope you guys enjoyed the last video. But yeah, welcome back, guys. I'm super excited to be back. Go ahead and pull this up. DMC beats Houday, baby, Houday. Thank you for joining. Everyone, welcome DMC. Drake said, "What's good? What's up, my man? Just out here, got some free time on vacation. Decided to hop onto a quick stream. Probably won't be 2 hours, maybe an hour or so, maybe a little less. If you could see, I got the beach right behind me, actually, just to prove that I am in Florida. I'm not home. But yeah, I still want to pump out content to you guys and get the 1K before I get back, which is actually my goal. I want to hit 1K before I get back, and so far about 15 subscribers away from hitting it. So my man Josh Banks said, "Houday, baby." How you guys doing today? Did you guys have a good 4th of July weekend? I know I did down here. It was awesome. How was your guys' weekend? Good 4th of July weekend? I know it was good for me down here in Florida, but I'll go ahead and start by saying before we get into some questions that if you're wondering what's going on, like, hey, why is the background different? Where's the studio and all that good stuff? So basically what happened is I've been in Florida for about a week already. I was with some other family in like a beach house, and there was a crazy situation, and I basically just couldn't get any videos out. It was impossible. Now I am at this place that I'm at for about 2.5 more weeks, so I will be able to get footage out here. So don't worry, I'm going to be able to get some videos out while I'm here, but I obviously won't be back in my studio for about 2.5 weeks. So the live streams and the videos will be here, but I have a huge upgrade coming for you guys very soon. I'm actually about to purchase it right after this stream, and I'm deciding if I want to order it here or just wait till I get back to Cincinnati to open it up. I don't know if I want to tell you guys yet. I know DMC already knows, but it's huge. It's something with my audio. It's just over around $200 to $300. It's a huge upgrade. And it's going to make the content a lot better. Now, right now, I don't know how my audio sounds. It's probably not the best, but that's just because I'm using my MacBook audio because I don't have my mic with me. So, unfortunately, that sucks, but hopefully it's not too bad. But it should really up the content. Drake said, "Do you see us running a 3-4-4-3? I've seen someone say a 5-2. Honestly, Drake, I think we're going to be mixing it up a lot. I think it honestly is going to come down to preseason and training to see who's going to come out on top and who really wins the spots. But I think beginning of the season, the Bengals are going to be throwing out a lot of formations. They're going to be trying 3-4. They're going to be trying 4-3. I'm not too sure about a 5-2 yet, but I do think that we'll be throwing out a lot of different formations just to catch teams off guard. Throw some of these young guys in and just who can win some battles." But I really think the defense will be throwing it a lot, or be throwing a lot of different formations out pretty early on in the season. Josh Banks said, "Everyone's sleeping on Auden Tate. I think he's a great weapon. If he does not play a lot of receiver, can you see him as a tight end? I think he's big enough." So Auden Tate has the size to be a tight end. He's probably a little bit underweight, but honestly, it just depends on his blocking. If he can work on his blocking, then he probably could be thrown in at tight end on some formations. Especially if it's not too big of an end or maybe a linebacker, he could probably handle it. But yeah, I think Auden Tate is a great red zone weapon. I believe that's when he's going to be used most is when, first and goal plays like that. They're going to throw him in there. He can either line up on the line or he can line out wide. He can do both. I just feel like he's going to be a huge weapon in the red zone, especially. Audio's fine. Okay, good. Now, Auden Tate is not nearly as good as Randy Moss was, but I can kind of see the resemblance of what you're saying. like if you compare Auden Tate and Randy Moss, like I'm taking Randy Moss all day. But like the skill set, I guess I could see where you're coming from. Auden Tate is a huge weapon, but he's not a wide receiver 1 and probably not a receiver 2 in 2020. Unless he wins that position, I don't see him winning receiver 2. So I think he's going to be more of receiver 3, receiver 4. Randy Moss's whole career, he was receiver 1. So, yeah, I agree, Drake. I think we will be mixing it up a lot on defense. And I think that's good. Like, I think it's going to throw a little bit of offenses, a little bit off, because usually when they're, studying and looking at playbooks or looking at teams, they look at the plays they did, of the last week. So if the Bengals played the Steelers, but this week they played the Rams, the Rams are going to be looking at when the Bengals played the Steelers and look at all the coverages that went on. Holy crap, it's a helicopter. They're going to be looking at all the coverages that went on. And, it's going to be hard when the Bengals are running 3-4, 4-3, 5-2, throwing all these different formations and packages, throwing linebackers on the line, throwing, ends on the linebacking crew. It's going to be very interesting. And I think that's, even though the Bengals don't have the most talented defense in 2020, they have a lot of young guys who are hungry, a mix of veterans that are all-time Pro Bowlers, future Hall of Famers. I feel like that's how the Bengals defense can catch offenses off guard is by, mixing it up a lot. So I expect them to be really creative in 2020. Drake said, I'm definitely thinking that we will see a bunch of 4-5 out. Tate could definitely handle T if he buffs up, yeah. But if we're using Tate as a red zone ton. Totally agree with this. I see us running 4 out a bunch. Mixon alone in the backfield. And then if the offensive line can hold up, I can see 5 out definitely. For sure. I mean, we should be able to if the offensive line can hold up. And that's gonna help, Burrow so much. Burrow's going to have a lot of options. He's going to be able to get the ball out quick. And he's going to have a security blanket like A.J. Green, who's most likely going to have one-on-one coverage when it's a 4 or 5 out. So I definitely see it. And I would be awesome to see Tate slide over to tight end, honestly. I think he would have to work on his, blocking big guys, blocking defensive end, blocking linebackers. But if, he could handle that, then that would be a great – just because he would get more playing time sliding into that tight end spot as he would as a receiver. Just because we're so stacked in receiving that, yeah, he's still going to see the field, but not as much if he can be receiver and tight end. You know what I mean? So I think that would definitely help, especially in the red zone. And I believe that's where he's going to flourish most in 2020. All right, guys, hold on. I'm going to give a shout to the stream real quick. All right, Snapchat, we are live on YouTube right now. Beach edition in Florida. That's not stopping us. Come join the live. Slide up and say what's up. Jake said, what's your opinion and thoughts on having a 2020 season? I hate to say it, but I feel very doubtful. Nah, man, the NFL is going to get their money. The NFL is a business, and they are going to have a season. I mean, you got to think the NBA is having a season after everything. The MLB is having a 60-game season. There's not a thought in my mind that there won't be an NFL season. Now, I know there's been some players saying, like, oh, how's it going to happen? It's the most physical sport. Guys coughing in each other's faces. Guys are spitting. Guys are trash talking. Yeah, I mean, I totally get that. But the NFL will do anything at the end of the day for there to be a season. They make money, and that's just what the NFL does. I saw a couple weeks ago, Dr. Fauci, the guy that kind of runs COVID, said something where like, oh, the NFL shouldn't have a season because of COVID. And then the NFL has their own doctor. So they don't listen to Fauci. They don't listen to any of these guys. They listen to the NFL doctor. I don't know his name. But he came out with a statement like the day after but it was essentially saying, in my words, saying, all right, Dr. Fauci, that's cool. Thanks for the information. But at the end of the day, NFL is going to do what I say to do, and that's going to play football. So the way it sounded was that the NFL doctor was relaxed, didn't care what Fauci had to say, and was like, hey, there's going to be a season if you like it or not. Now, obviously, there is a possibility there won't be a season. But honestly, I don't see that happening, and that would really suck, honestly. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to post this to my Snapchat real quick. I'm posting this on my social media. If you haven't followed my social media, right here, Drew_Collins11, or you can go in the link below and all my social medias there. Add me. Just come say what's up. If you want to reach out to me, that's the best way to reach out to me is through my social media, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and they're up in that corner up there. So make sure you add me on those. Drake said, I'm thinking we ran we ran a simplified playbook last year. I'm expecting a much more in-depth and unique playbook this season. Yeah, honestly, I believe that's 100% the truth. You know, when you have a 1-win, 2-win, 0-win season and you're like week 10 or whatever it may be, obviously you're not going to show all your good plays because, I mean, each year, yes, the playbook can change, but for a majority, it's going to be, you know, around the same thing. So why would he throw the best plays he has hidden away in that season where the season is the worst team in the league and waste them for teams to be able to review it for the next season? So I totally agree with this statement. I think we're going to look totally different with the playbook. You know, Andy Dalton is not the same quarterback as Joe Burrow, and the roster is totally different as well. You know what I mean? So when you have someone like Joe Burrow who can do a lot more than Andy Dalton, and then you have all these weapons that we've built up over the offseason and everything, yeah, I do think offense and defense will look a lot more complicated, and we'll see a lot of more 4 or 5 outs, 3 4s, 4 3s. I think it goes both ways. You know, I've been saying that with the offense, that the offense is going to look totally different, but I think the defense could look pretty different too. So I totally agree with that. T could be used as a security blanket as well. Definitely, but not like AJ. I say AJ is a security blanket because he's a veteran. You know, he's been there for a decade. He's a guy that can catch balls, you know, where T is coming on proving himself. So, yeah, he can be a security blanket, but I just call AJ Zach because he's more reliable when healthy. This is a good one. I'm not going to lie. He said, Drake said, who is your pick for MVP, offensive rookie year, defensive rookie year, offensive player year, defensive player year, most improved, comeback? Honestly, I hate to say it, but I could see Patrick Mahomes going back-to-back again. I don't know, but unless proven otherwise, I wouldn't see why not. I mean, he's a freaking monster. I don't think anybody can stop him, honestly. Now, I've read some things where they're saying Tom Brady could come back and have like this amazing season in Tampa where he's proved people. I don't know about all that because Tom Brady isn't the same quarterback he was. But, you're saying for the Bengals only? Oh, okay. Okay. For Bengals only. MVP, I think it definitely could be Mixon just because Mixon this year is going to, you know, running backs, usually their best year is that contract year. It's either, you know, make it break it year. So if he doesn't get that contract until, you know, mid-in season, he's going to play better than he has in his entire career. And that's going to be worse on the Bengals because then the Bengals are going to have to pay him more than if they were to pay him now. You know, if they pay him now, they're looking at a top 10 to 6 running back. If he plays like how he could be a top 5, top 3 running back, and then he's going to be getting that type of money, which for running backs is huge. So I think it really could be Joe Mixon for MVP. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I would say T. Higgins. Defensive Rookie of the Year, definitely one of the linebackers. It's honestly a toss-up with any of those linebackers. You know, I mean, there's so many. Offense Player of the Year, probably Burrow. Defensive Player of the Year. That's a good one. I'm gonna roll the dice and say one of the safeties, Jesse Bates or Von Bell. I think that'd be very interesting to see one of those guys go up and, you know, grab it. Most improved. I would like to see John Ross. And then comeback player would kind of be John Ross, but probably AJ if we're talking about like coming back from injury. All right. So yeah, that was a good one, Drake. Okay, we got Mr. Whisper. Mr. Whisper, thank you for joining the stream the stream again, bud. It's good seeing you. Mr. Whisper said, do you think Fred Johnson beats out Bobby Hart, or will the team keep Hart starting because we're less talented? He has more experience at the position. Look, I think this goes with any position on the Bengals. I think there's no, he's more talented or, he's more veteranized, he's played longer. I think best man wins at the end of the day. Lineman, quarterback, running back, receiver. I think that's just kind of the new franchise, you know, league that the Bengals have built. with bringing in all these new people and new faces into Cincinnati and kind of trying to turn around Cincinnati into this new look, franchise and organization. In this, I think, honestly, whoever performs better in training camp and preseason will win it out, if it's Fred Johnson or Bobby Hart. And I just believe that's how the Bengals are going to be all 2020. If A.J. Green, let's say A.J. Green gets lazy, gains 15 pounds, he's not doing like he's always done, he's not feeling the same because of the contract situations. I don't see him being receiver one. I see Tyler Boyd taking that, and then T. Higgins possibly taking that. And that's with any situation in 2020. I just think the Bengals they're not going to care how many years you played. They're not going to care how many snaps you've had. What they're going to care is in practice and training camp and preseason and in the game, whoever's, putting 110% in over, 50% is going to win that fight. So, let's do a toss up and see, with this offensive line, man, it's just going to be hard. When you guys ask me offensive line questions, man, like I kind of skip around it just because I don't want to give an answer and that answer be wrong, because these guys are hard to pick one guy because no one's really proved himself yet. It's kind of like the Jonah Williams. Yes, he's a first-round talent, but he hasn't proved himself yet. You know what I mean? And he will be able to in 2020. So we'll see if he's the real deal or not. And I think he is, but only time will tell. Kinga just said, just followed. I appreciate it, man. We are almost like 15 to 10 subs away from 1K subs in about 3.5 months. Appreciate that. If you are in the stream right now, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, share with a friend. Go ahead and do that for me, guys. Appreciate you. Drake said, for me, MVPs Mixon, Offensive Rookie of the Year Burrow, Defensive Rookie of the Year Wilson, Offensive Player of the Year Mixon, Defensive Player of the Year Bates, Improved Ross. Contract year needs to show out, comeback AJ. Yeah, and I don't even think, like how you said, contract year for Ross. I think Ross is going to be gone no matter what, unless he plays like hearts out, because the Bengals really aren't going to throw him that much money, if you want me to be honest. Like the Bengals, I don't see them giving a big contract to John Ross. So unfortunately, I think he's going to be off the team. Do I want him to be off? No, not if he performs well this year. But the chances and the odds are so stacked up against him with the Bengals, drafting second-round receiver, about to pay AJ. Tyler Boyd, is on a pretty decent contract. It's just the odds are really stacked up against the guy. And then you have Auden Tate, you know what I mean? So I want the best for John Ross. I would like to see him do big things in 2020. It's just for him to be a Bengal in 2021, I just think the odds are really stacked up against him. And when I did that video about John Ross, I think 2 or 3 videos ago, it didn't do that well. It's one of my – it's still decent, but compared to the rest of my videos, it didn't do that well. And you guys – not you guys, but some people are like, Yeah, it's probably one of my worst videos that I've done. Not that I've made, but that I like views-wise, I guess. Jake said, I can't wait to see Joe run the offense. Houday, I think a season or 2 will be the real. Keep up the good work, Houday. Thank you, Jake. I will keep up the good work. Florida is not stopping me. Just because I'm not home, I'm not going to stop the content. So just wait till I get back. I have a lot of upgrades to the podcast or the YouTube, whatever you want to call it. A lot of upgrades coming soon when I get back. So appreciate it, man. Do you think Bobby Hart will be punished for his homophobic Instagram post? When was this? Did I miss out on something? I think I might have heard something about this. Huh. I'm sure it's deleted, right? I don't know, man. If it's true or not, yeah, probably. I don't know what the punishment will be. Probably a fine. That's kind of what everything that the Bengals, or not the Bengals, but the NFL kind of resides to. No matter what the punishment is, usually nowadays it's just a fine. I don't think I looked up in that, but I'll have to look up about that. Huh. Oh, appreciate it. Yeah. Follow the Instagram and the Twitter, guys. Do you think there's any real trade value for Ross? Honestly, no. Teams have seen what he's done, and that's little to nothing. So I don't think teams are going to be coughing up anything, maybe late round picks. But with players like that you really don't know what's going on, most of the time you really can't get much. So that's kind of the thing where he proves himself for a contract, or he proves himself, Bengals don't give him a contract, and he's gone. And another team signs him. So I think if Ross leaves, it won't be off trade. It will honestly be through, like offseason signing somewhere else. Even if he is off after this year, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Realistically, you can't get every single player back every season. As much as there's some players you want to see return each and every year. Yeah, it's what you want, especially when somebody who's drafted first, second, third round. You want to see those guys on the team for a long time. But realistically, the NFL is a business, and that's not going to happen every single time. And I think that's kind of like with John Ross's case. So, even if he has a good season and the Bengals decide to move on from him, hey, if he goes to another team and gets a shot, good for him. Maybe he can revive his career. I mean, that at the end of the day, you got to think the Bengals chose him. So, as much as you're mad at him, the Bengals selected him. So, obviously the situation sucks, though. Yeah, I agree, Drake.
Wait, do you like this?
Yeah. All right. He went off last year. I know. If you go back to last season, I tweeted. This was before I was doing the podcast and all that. But I tweeted. I was like, John Ross is going to hit 1K receiving yards this season. And he was at like 5-4 or something through the first few games. Boom, like the next week goes down with injury. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that tweet would have been fire. Because he was so slept on and under the radar because of his career was still not pieced together so far. So he was having a great year, but the Bengals aren't going to rely on him being injured or being healthy. So they go out and grab T. Higgins. Auden Tate steps up. Tyler Boyd has another great season, another 1K season. AJ Green's returning from injury. So it's just going to be hard for him to prove himself. MLG channel said, who do you think will finish last place in the AFC North? I think I'll give you three teams: Bengals, Browns, or Steelers. I'll say this: Ravens are finishing 1 or 2, and then teams that are finishing 4th will be Cleveland Browns if Baker Mayfield had a season like he had a year ago, unless he has a season like he had 2 years ago, his rookie season, or the Pittsburgh Steelers if Big Ben can't piece anything together. Honestly, it's so crazy with the Steelers because that defense is the real deal, and they have a lot of talent on that team. But Big Ben, you don't know what how he can be coming back from that injury he had, which was a very serious injury, possibly a career-ending injury. And will he be the same like he was before? I don't know. They don't got Le'Veon Bell or any, Antonio Brown no more. So we'll see. I mean, if you want me to be honest, I don't think there's going to be any team like last season with only 2 wins. I think it's going to be very competitive in the AFC North. And I feel like games that are going to be lost are still going to be close call games. 1 touchdown, a field goal and a touchdown, 2 touchdowns. You know what I mean? So it's going to be very fun to watch. The Bengals obviously could repeat and get last place again. I don't think they will. But, we'll have to see what Joe Burrow does and how this defense holds up. I hate predictions this early. It kills me. Yeah, I didn't look into that about Bobby Hart. I'm not too sure, but honestly, the only penalties that kind of reside in the NFL nowadays are just fines. I mean, he could get a preseason game suspension or a game suspension or whatever it may be, but it just in the NFL nowadays, it's basically a fine for everything. I think majority of the time, the only time when a player gets like, you know, a big time suspension or anything is drugs. You know, either they failed a drug test or steroids, something that, you know, of that realm. But, you know, we'll see. And if he does get suspended like preseason or something like that, that's a huge loss for him because it's anybody's spot on this team. Honestly, and I believe that too. I honestly think any of these guys can start. You know, you could say Bobby Hart is as that spot locked down, but does he? What do you guys think? Oh, imagine the Chiefs picking up. Yo, if the Chiefs picked him up, I bet his career would be revived a little bit. All he has to do is catch the ball. All he do is run slants. They'll have a guy go deep, another guy go deep, and then have two guys crossing. And the linebackers have to, you know, cover one. A guy like John Ross is outrunning a linebacker. Patrick Mahomes tosses an 8-yard pass. He's gone. Him and Tyreek Hill. Yo. LL Cool J 34 said, can we talk about David Njoku? What's up? The David Njoku, are you talking about could you see him in a Bengals uniform? I don't hate it, honestly. David Njoku in a Bengals uniform, he is a heck of a talent. And the Bengals tight end spot obviously is, you know, not the strongest. We just would have to talk about what the Bengals are giving up to get the guy. You know what I mean? I don't hate David Njoku in the Bengals uniform. Honestly, I don't hate it. One, we got to talk about money. Two, we got to talk about what we have to give up for him. What do you guys think about David Njoku? Could you guys see him in a Bengals uniform? I know some people were saying somebody said Buccaneers, but I feel like any player you talk about, Buccaneers will first pop up just because how many moves they made. So I don't know about all that. But, yeah, dude, I don't know where he's going, but, you know, I think it could be pretty crazy. He said, I would trade John Ross and a 6th-round pick for David Njoku. I would too, man, but I don't think they're budging on that. David Njoku is a playmaker, and he's done pretty well with the Browns. I'm not going to lie, with the struggle they've had so far. Yeah, we're talking mid-round picks. How old is Njoku? Isn't he like 25? So he's still pretty young, right? How old is he? He's 23. Whoa. Whoa. Yo, I like that age. He's proved a pretty good amount for only being 23 years old. Yo, I did not know he was that young. Okay. I mean, 4th, 5th, 6th, maybe a player. 4th, 5th, 6th, maybe a player. I don't know. 23 years old? I mean, I didn't know he was that young. Guy has a lot of potential. I don't know, man. I like that. MLG said, what do you think about the LA Rams? I think they kind of dropped off. I feel like they have the roster. They don't have the quarterback. You know what I mean? I feel like they have a good roster. I feel like they give up too much money. They give players way too much money for length. They'll give anybody, any decent player, they'll give them 4, 5, 6 years, a good amount of money. I think they messed up by doing that. They tied themselves up. They really did. It's so sad. They have a good coach. I really like the coach. I think they just made poor money decisions, and I think they tied up a quarterback that isn't the one. But I still like the Rams. Drake said, I could see us winning 5-6 more games this year. 7-8 of our losses were one-possession games. Yeah, I mean, as much crap as the Bengals got last year, man, some of those games are pretty close. And obviously, some of them are butt kickings, but we hung on some of them. I'm fine with another down year for the Bengals as long as Joey B wins and we get the tackle from Oregon in the draft. Yeah, I would love to see Burrow get Rookie of the Year, man. I don't know how many wins I'd give up to see him win Rookie of the Year. I'm not going to lie. That would just be super hype. But, yeah, I think we'll definitely target some offensive linemen. I don't know about the draft. I think we need to go out and sign some offensive linemen, at least one. If the Bengals don't go and sign or trade for a good top 10, top 15 lineman, I'd be kind of disappointed. Not going to lie. Are you in Florida? Yes. So if you missed the video, I kind of yesterday's video, I kind of touched on it about like the first 30 seconds or whatever. I am in Florida for about 2.5 more weeks, 2 weeks. So I'm not in the regular setup. Obviously, as you can tell, I'm not in my podcast setup, and I won't be for about another 2.5 weeks. But that's not going to stop me from uploading content and hopping on live for you guys for a little bit. It's just the lives won't be as long. Back then I was doing 2-hour plus lives. Now I'll probably be able to do less than hour lives. But if you didn't check out yesterday's video, because I touched on it a little bit, I'm going to be in Florida for now another week, 2 weeks or so. So I'm still going to be posting though. In my opinion, there shouldn't be a punishment if that's all he said. I don't know, man. I feel like fines are kind of the answer for everything. Drake said thoughts on Cam to the Patriots. My thoughts are the NFL messed up. The league messed up. They should not have let him go to the Patriots. I would rather see Cam Newton on any other team besides the Patriots. They got one of the greatest coaches of all time. They have a system that is very rigid but broad at the same time, if that makes sense. And they still got a defense. The Patriots defense is the real deal. They have a fantastic defense. If Cam Newton were to win the starting spot, which he will win that starting spot. He doesn't have to score many points to win games in the Patriots uniform. And that's what kind of scares me. Carolina, they had to put up, 20, 30 plus points to win a game when Cam Newton was on that team. On the Patriots, he won't have to do that. Those snow games, the great defense he has, he won't have to score that many points. And that's just what kind of is scary. I think it's obviously a great move for the Patriots. They paid him for dirt. Backup quarterbacks make more money than what he's making. I think it's a $1 million contract, but he can make up to like 4 or 5 in incentives, which means, hey, you get $1 million, but you get $5 million if you take us to the Super Bowl. So obviously, if he wants $4 million more than what they gave him, he has to make it to the playoffs because it's $1 million guaranteed or whatever, but it's $5 million in incentives. So the Patriots said, all right, you get $1 million. But if you make it to the playoffs, here's 3 more. You win the Super Bowl, here's 2 more. So it's an amazing move by the Patriots once again. I can't even hate on it. I think Cam Newton's going to have a good season. And the people that are out there saying Garrett Stidham is going to win that starting spot, you're an idiot because he's not. If you think Cam Newton just a few years ago won an MVP, that with a couple injuries and an NFL that's been hating on him is going to not win that starting spot, I don't know, man. I think it was a great move by the Patriots. And I think the NFL messed up a lot. They should have not let him slip to the Patriots. No way. Chris said, I would give up a 3rd-round pick easy. A 3rd, 4th, 5th, maybe add him in a couple years, maybe a player. Look, David Njoku, bro. David Njoku, I would love as a Bengal, honestly. He's only 23. I didn't know he was that young. I thought he was around 25. My man Jerry said, yo, I'm back. What's up, Jerry? Thank you for joining today's stream. Appreciate it, my man. If you guys are in here, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and share with a friend. We are so close to 1K, just about less than 15 subscribers away from 1K subs. I think people understand the Bengals D-line looks scary, and offense looks even scarier. It looks like the 2012 Bengals, I think their worst is 5'11", our best is 11'5". Honestly, man, when I get on here so many times in each and every stream, someone says, what's your prediction? This is kind of my prediction, something like this. I have a worst and a best. 5-6 wins worst, 10 wins at the best. That's kind of my thing. This Bengals team is so much different that it's honestly a toss-up. You don't know what they could do. They can win 10 games or they can win 11 games. You know what I mean? So I agree. I think it is a different team than 2012, different quarterback, different coach. I feel like the 2012 team was a little bit, linebacker heavy. But I think there is some similarities, and, we'll see that this season. DMC said this is Cam Newton's comeback year. Honestly, man, Cam Newton, I think, is going to turn a lot of heads. And I think that's kind of wrong. I think Cam Newton shouldn't have to turn heads. I feel bad for the guy, honestly. I don't think he should have to turn heads. He just won the most valuable player award a couple seasons ago and almost won a Super Bowl. It's unfortunate, but he's going to prove himself or he's not going to prove himself. We'll see here in 2020. The only thing would be if Pittsburgh got Cam. Yeah, I would be furious because I'm taking Cam Newton over Big Ben. If it's 2020 and I got Cam Newton and 40-year-old Big Ben, Cam Newton all day. But that's what I'm saying. Cam Newton for $1 million. You know how many teams could have got that? I mean, some teams could have paid him $5-10 million for nothing, for just to, win a spot. But no, somehow he wins and sometimes, dude, he goes to the Patriots. I couldn't believe it, man. Have you seen the tackle from the draft? The guy from Kansas? I can't think of his name. He has a little bit of a crazy name. But the guy from Kansas, I haven't watched much film on him, to be honest. Drake said the Pats came out of nowhere signing him. I think it was they tank and draft Lawrence. Everyone was thinking that. I was thinking Patriots are going to have that great of a year, then they're going to have a bad year, and they're going to draft a good quarterback. But at the same time, I didn't think they would be able to do that bad just because their defense was so good. Their defense would win them 3-4 games, honestly. Just their defense. Even if their offense scored 14 points, I still think they win some games because of that defense. Hey, man, I mean, look at the Patriots. You're giving up $1 to $5 million max for a prove-it year. Cam Newton, what if he goes out there and have a great season? Okay, bring him back for another year. Or if he doesn't do good, all right, bye, Cam. We'll go draft somebody. So you really can't lose if you're the Patriots. You really can't. You can't lose in that situation. And that's what I like so much about it is because even if Cam Newton plays bad, so what? Bench him. Okay, you lost out on $1 million. That's nothing for him. Like, honestly. And they probably got jersey sales. Their jersey sales they probably got more revenue in Cam Newton jersey sales than they did paying him that $1 million. It was a fantastic business move. Do you see more A.J. Green and T. Higgins or more Devontae Adams? A.J. Green, just because they've literally came out and said, T. Higgins said, I want to be like A.J. Green. And A.J. Green has said, my favorite player is T. Higgins. And now, boom, situation, they are on the same team. They are teammates. Look, man, if T. Higgins can be half of what A.J. was, he'll be a heck of a player. And I think, he could be just as good, if not better. He's coming to an NFL team young. He's going to learn straight from the guy. Every single day he's going to be working and learning from the guy that he wants to be. So he can be just as good, if not better, than what AJ has been. And imagine if he does that. Another all-time Bengal. We would be spoiled, fans, to have to have T. Higgins play similar to AJ Green and stay as his majority of his career, if not all. That'd be pretty spoiled in that receiver position. I would be very fortunate for the Bengals. And this is what I've been saying. When you guys are on my tail asking me, I want a prediction. I want to hear about the division. I want to hear about Cincinnati. I want to hear about this. It is so hard, man. It is a toss-up. Until we get to week 1, week 2, week 3, then I'm going to be more bold. Bengals 8 wins. Bengals 6 wins. Bengals 10 wins. But until then, man, Bengals honestly can get 5 to 10 wins. They could. I expect them to get 5. I would love for them to get 10. But we'll see, man. So Jerry said, what do you want the Bengals to draft next year? Now, here's my thing. Obviously, everyone's like, yes, they need to draft O-line. My thing is they don't need to draft O-line. They need to go sign some O-line and then draft around it. So if they go sign 1 to 2 good offensive linemen, maybe draft one in the mid rounds, but up close, playmaker corner. Playmaking safety, or maybe not safety, but playmaking corner would be huge. Playmaking defensive end. Carlos Dunlap's getting up there in age. Sam Hubbard, 25. They can always add on to a guy in a second, third round pick to be a defensive end. But I would love a playmaking secondary position first round next year if we sign offensive linemen. Obviously, if we don't sign offensive linemen, I think the Bengals tie themselves up to once again draft in the first round of offensive linemen. I feel like the Bengals kind of tied themselves up there, but I honestly see them trading or signing for at least one good offensive lineman next season. And I don't know who's the offensive linemen that are going to be in free agency, but they have to go after somebody because I doubt they'll tie themselves up to be forced to draft an offensive lineman. Because even if they sign one, they can say, okay, well, we can go draft offensive lineman, or we can get the stunning corner out of Alabama. You know what I mean? That can be a day one starter. So I don't know. I've always just, offensive lineman in the first round is kind of like, oh yay, good, woo. But when you get like a star corner, a star receiver, star cornerback, it feels so much better than an offensive lineman. But at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for the team. So if it is offensive lineman, it is what it is. So King said he is getting older and he can't throw accurate. What does age have to do with anything, though? Look at Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. I get he's getting older, so he might not be the same Cam, but how are you going to say he can't throw accurate? Like, I respect you saying this, but I disagree at the same time. If it comes week 1, week 2, week 3, and Cam is not good, he's inaccurate, you're right. I agree with that. But for a $1 million deal, if the Bengals picked him up for $1 million, I wouldn't be mad. Obviously, it's not the right situation for the Bengals, but all 31 other NFL teams, if they picked him up, I wouldn't be mad, honestly, for $1 million. How inaccurate do you have to be for $1 million? You know what I mean? I get what you're saying, though. He's not the most accurate quarterback. I get it. You know what I mean, King? I feel like the Bengals secondary being severely underrated by people. Do you agree? I feel like it's not as underrated as it is underrated as it is like what's the word? Not approved. I can't think of the word. I lost it. Yes, they're underrated, but they didn't prove themselves yet. That's what I'm trying to say. They really haven't really proved themselves to be boom, boom, boom. I feel like the secondary still has a lot to prove. We have 2 new corners. We have William Jackson, who said he played injury prone last year. We have a new safety in Von Bell. We have Jesse Bates, who is still very young and still learning. So I feel like as underrated they are, I feel like they're very, they haven't proved themselves yet. But I think they can, and I think they will prove people that they are a great secondary. They just have to prove it to people. Oh, wrong one. Was Billy Price a bust? I don't know about a bust. He still has a year. I think this year we'll be able to tell yes or no. I feel like it's hard to tell him this year, but this year, or from the previous years, but this year, I feel like the team is looking forward and not in the past. There's new culture and everything. And I feel like if Billy Price does not prove himself this year, I think he could be a bust. We will see in 2020. All right, I'll take a few more questions, and I probably have to go. Give me 1 second, guys. One second, guys. Hold on. One second, guys. Give me like 3 seconds. I see Bates, Jackson, Reeder, and at least 1 to 2 of the linebackers we drafted being the foundation of the D for the future. Yeah, we got young guys that are ready. Our defense is young and ready to go. So I can see that too. Evan, I'm not going to pull it up on screen, but I honestly really don't care. what his off, kind of like off-field situation is. That doesn't affect me watching his football and how he plays on the field. So, you know what I mean? That doesn't affect him as a football player, then I don't really care what he does off the field, as long as he's not having problems. Most likely, Billy Price was a bust. Honestly, it's headed more towards that way, but, we'll find out this season for sure. King said it could work. I hope it does. Honestly, King, and I wasn't trying to disagree with you, but at the same time, I think it will work. But we'll find out. It might not. He might be inaccurate this season. So I just think it's better than what they already had. You know what I mean? But we will see. Dude, Luke, I kind of said this in my video yesterday where I said not talking about the defense, but talking about the defense line, the top 5, top 10, but ranking the Bengals defense, it's hard just because they're so young and not unappreciated, but unimproved. They haven't proved to anybody yet. Just because you got new quarterbacks, you got a new secondary, you got a new safety, and only people that have kind of been on this team was the defensive line and a couple of linebackers who really haven't proved themselves much yet. So, and then Jesse Bates. So I think it's going to be a toss-up. I think they can be a top 15 defense, but we'll just have to see how the team chemistry is. Tell me, I'm pretty sure tell me where you see Joe Burrow. I see Joe Burrow winning Rookie of the Year, about maybe 1 or 2 Pro Bowlers, and a playoff win. Maybe Super Bowl? At least a playoff win. Something Andy Dalton couldn't do. I'll take one more question or two, and then I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Thoughts on Logan Wilson? Logan Wilson is a beast. He'll probably be a day 1 starter, and he will have a ton of tackles in 2020. He will be a beast, trust me. I'm really excited for him. Top 15 defense would be a win, in my opinion. Honestly, me too, man. That would be a huge improvement from a season ago. And if they're top 15, they're so young, they can only improve from there. So if they're top 15 this year, next season they should be top 10. The season after that, they should be top 5. You know what I mean? So I feel like we'll get a very good feeling, mid to end of 2020 of how the defense is. And then we'll kind of be like, okay, well, besides Carlos Dunlap and Gino, all these guys are probably 25 years and under, so they're only going to get better, statistically, from taking their age and how many snaps they played, which isn't a lot. Most likely they're only going to get better from there. So I feel like our defense is only going to go up from 2020. And kind of with our offense, besides AJ and a few pieces that are a little bit older, but other than that, I think what people fail to realize is that the Bengals are such a young franchise and team right now, and they only have so much to build on. So I'm really excited, but we are just getting to an hour, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to wrap this one early, guys. Make sure you watch yesterday's video. Leave a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe. We're almost 10 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate all the love and support. If I'm not doing a live, my next video will be Saturday at noon. Make sure you're hitting that bell notification so you get notified Tuesdays and Saturdays at noon. And then streaming whenever I'm free. Like I said, I am in Florida and I'm not in Cincinnati right now. So my situation is, pretty hard and difficult to work with, but we will get there. All right. I appreciate you guys for tuning in today. I'll see you guys next time. Hoo day. Peace out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay true.